Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertisers.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of On the Mark. I'm your host, Mark Brantley, and this evening we have a very, very special show with a very special guest. I'm going to get into that in a moment. But at the top of the show, let me say good evening to one and all, those here in Nevis, those in St. Kitts, those who are throughout the Caribbean. I know people all across the region listen to this show every Wednesday. I want to say good evening to those in the United States, those in Canada. If you're up there in Kitchener, good evening to you. If you are out there in the United Kingdom across the pond, good evening as well. Wherever you are in the world and you're listening, a very, very good evening to you. It is a beautiful, beautiful night here in Nevis. Also in the throes of Culturama. Culturama runs officially from the end of July until early August. But you know, the tents are happening already, the soca teasers are happening already, and we expect to have a wonderful Culturama for Culturama 51. 51 years of celebrating our culture this year. And so we invite again our friends and family all across the globe, those in St. Kitts, those all across Nevis, to be here for Culturama 51. At the top of the show, let me send out congratulations to, I hope I pronounce this right, Michaela Bailey of Government Road. She, I'm told, has had a great achievement on being the valedictorian of the Charleston Primary School, and this is coming from her aunt Diana in Florida and her mom Latoya Bailey and the rest of the family. These shout-outs are important because, of course, people are listening. And Diana, you messaged me, and I want to join. I hope I didn't spoil this young lady's name. Michaela, that I hope that's the name, but Miss Bailey, let me use that. Miss Bailey, who is the valedictorian, Charleston Primary School, congratulations from your Aunt Diana in Florida and your mom Latoya, my good friend Latoya Bailey. So we're very grateful for these young people. We have a number of graduations that are happening. I think the Elizabeth Pemberton Primary School have had their graduation this afternoon. I want to say congratulations to defined or as described by President Trump and his team, or the big ugly bill as described by the Democrats. But there's a huge bill going on. And what's the debate about in part? Cuts to Medicaid. And people are concerned that they will lose access to health care. We know that our health is important. Without it, clearly we are not here. We can't survive, we can't work, we can't function. And it is therefore a critical aspect of what we try to do. Countries all around the world are continually trying to improve health care. That means investment in equipment, investing in personnel, investing in training. It is an ongoing process. Here on a little island like Nevis, that problem is exacerbated by the fact that we do not have the resources. It's not any cheaper in terms of health care. The equipment costs the same, but we do not have the resources that it takes. We are not in a position to build billion-dollar hospitals and complexes and to have every specialty available to us. I recall that a good friend of mine that I went to school with, who is a neurosurgeon, and he does not practice in Nevis, even though he's from Nevis and he loves Nevis. And I said, why? And he said, well, he couldn't survive if he only had 1 or 2 cases per year. And I could understand that. And so part of our problem is our population size. Part of our problem is our very, very small resources in terms of what revenue we earn and how much money we have available to us. And listen, whatever we want to say, however we want to twist it or turn it, healthcare costs. It's something that you have to pay for. Whether you're paying for it through insurance, again, going back to the United States, you had Obamacare, you had all of these very political issues that arose, all surrounding healthcare. How you can deliver healthcare to more people with better quality. Here on the island of Nevis, we've been trying to invest over the years at our lone hospital, the Alexandra Hospital. We've tried to invest at our clinics. We've invested in training doctors. In fact, I'm very pleased that we have a large cohort of local doctors now at our hospital, and we continue to encourage them to go off and to specialize. In the interim, we've hired specialist doctors who are on staff. We now have access to surgeons. For the first time in our history, 3 surgeons resident at our hospital. We have access now to people like OBGYN, we have pediatricians, we have internists, people like those who we didn't have before. And so there was a time in Nevis, believe it or not, when we had 1 doctor. That was it for the entire island. Now we have moved beyond that. But the improvements must be continuous. It has to be a continuing effort on our part. We've invested in equipment, a brand new CT scan, 128 slice Philips machine, which is a good quality machine. That machine cost over $1 million US, which is a significant expense for an island this size. Thankfully, we had a partner who assisted us with that. New ambulances, equipment to do greater testing insofar as our labs are concerned. So we have been really investing significantly in what we are trying to do. In addition, of course, we have been trying to build an additional wing to the hospital, which we keep saying wing, but it's 2.5 times the size of the current hospital. So it's really a new hospital that we're trying to build. That project has been stalled for some time, but we've made the commitment that that project will get going again this year once we've now sorted out all that we have to sort out. But in the interim, one of the ways that we're trying to deliver quality care to our people is through the assistance and partnership with healthcare providers and professionals overseas. And I want to say that there was a woman called Ursula Phillip. I'm going to mention her because she was a beautiful, beautiful lady. I'm not talking just in looks. She had that too. But I'm talking about spirit. And she introduced Nevis and introduced us to some doctors that she was friendly with and that she persuaded to come to Nevis. Well, Ursula, regrettably, has passed on, but she has left her daughter, who's also Ursula, and Ursula the daughter, Ursula the younger, has continued with that tradition. These are Nevisians who love Nevis, and notwithstanding that they live abroad, they're trying to find creative ways to give back. And so Ursula the younger has now become involved. She was always involved, but involved more in trying to leverage relationships that she has in the United States to see how they could bring their expertise to bear to assist us here on the island of Nevis. And one such individual is with me tonight in the studio, and that is Dr. George. Dr. George, it has taken me almost 10 minutes just to introduce you. And all I will say to the public is that Dr. George is here. He's in the building. He'll be spending some time with me. I'm not sure if he's going to stay for the 2 hours, but if he stays, he's welcome, because we want to have a conversation about healthcare, about the state of healthcare, about how you and I can do more for our own healthcare to ensure that we remain in the pink of health. We are humans. The body is going to break down at some point, so we understand that sickness will come. What we need to do is to try to see how we can delay it for as long as possible, and when it does come, hopefully that our immune systems are good enough that our body can fight it. If there is need for intervention, then we need to have the expertise and the access to those who can guide us and who can assist us. So, Dr. George, welcome back to Nevis. Welcome to On the Mark. I would have you know that this show has a wide listening audience across Nevis, St. Kitts, the Caribbean, and indeed in the United States and Canada and the United Kingdom. Those are our primary markets, but we are listened to anywhere, frankly, that has internet, has access to the show. And this show has been on air now for almost 20 years. So I know you're looking at me and wondering how it's possible. I started when I was 2 years old. So it's been a long time that we've been here. So Dr. George, welcome. I want to start, perhaps you can pull the microphone a little closer to yourself. Yeah, we want to hear every word that you say. Okay. So perhaps you can start by telling us a little bit about yourself, sure. You know, your specialty and what you're doing in Nevis.
Yeah, so I was born in Africa. I was born in Cape Coast, Ghana. My mom was a primary care doctor. We're from South India, from Kerala. So we're South Indian Christian. So we were brought up in Africa, and then we came to the U.S. in Atlanta, Georgia. So she is the one who set the pace for me as a doctor by doing the work in Africa, a lot of the work in the villages and stuff like that, and then the work that she did in Atlanta, Georgia. So as I graduated, I ended up going into pulmonary diseases. And I specialize now in pulmonary and sleep. So, and a big thanks to Ursula, who has actually been our mixologist, and I always give her a big gratitude that she's the one responsible for connecting the people, bringing the folks together, because her passion is healthcare, and her passion is what can we do to have people live a long life, a healthy life, and a life that doesn't suffer. And my mom, she's an Indian woman, a big church believer. She enjoyed taking care of patients, took care of patients in the church. And when she passed away, till her last days, she was in the church and in the office seeing patients. And that kind of compassion is what she's passed on to us, to me, and I see that in Ursula. And that's what Ursula's passion has been for connecting with a lot of the doctors.
Okay, well, you said, if I am hearing you correctly, that you're a pulmonologist?
Yes.
So can you tell us, what is a pulmonologist?
So a pulmonologist is a person who looks at all the diseases of the lungs. And we specialize in things like COPD, which asthma, and also sleep apnea. So it's basically anything that causes a person to have issues with breathing, or ventilatory systems, and sleep issues.
Okay, so you're here in Nevis, and clearly you've explained that you're here through the graces and good work of Ursula. But what is the mission? What is it you're trying to accomplish here on the island?
Sure, it's a good question. So when Ursula interacted with us, she wanted to look at an access to pulmonary issues in Nevis, because she felt that there were folks that were having different types of pulmonary issues, asthma, and issues from the Sahara Desert, the sand and stuff like that. And she wanted us to look into it, and she said, we just don't have access here. We don't have those type of issues, and we don't have doctors here because the cost of pulmonologist or any specialist to be here is too much. And so we had a pretty busy practice, and so we talked to her, and she was one of our patients. So we talked to her. It was like, hey, why don't we come down there and look at different options and strategize, and start to look at different venues that we can do and keep it a low-cost approach, so using it as a mission kind of approach to it, screening patients and start at the screening level to see first the data, how many patients have problems with breathing, how can we categorize those patients, and then how can we do some sort of treatment. And the big issue with us was that you don't want to be a one and done where you come there, do something, make a big splash, and then leave, and then you left a footprint and the footprint starts to disappear. You really want to leave that footprint and come back again and put the next footprint and the next footprint, so the sustainability. So we came in January. We worked at Alexandra Hospital, had a wonderful relationship, a big shout out to Dr. Hobson, and just sat in the ER clinic there in the x-ray room, saw a lot of patients. It was kind of a, anyone who had a breathing problem come in and see. Had a pretty good response, and so we made some relationships, did some screening measures, and now we're coming back again to follow through with that.
Okay, so if you had to hazard a number, how many people would you say you have been able to see? This is your second trip, so you were here in January, you said.
Yeah, I think we saw close to 40 to 50 patients that were new to us.
Okay.
And what was interesting to us was that it was all word of mouth, because we came in, Ursula talked to a few people, we talked to the hospital, and people were just coming in, and they just started walking to the clinic. They said, I have this problem. They were bringing their children. They were telling us stuff. So the word of mouth really moved very quickly, and that told us very quickly that there's definitely some issues here with breathing.
So in terms of the issues with breathing, you've mentioned a few: asthma, sleep apnea. etc. Have you seen any particular problems here that you think are probably among the people that you've seen? Are there any of the problems that you think are more acute?
Yeah, so one of the big problems we saw is probably that's undiagnosed is sleep apnea. And sleep apnea, to put it very simply, is just the effects of gravity when you're laying down that's closing your airway. And historically, we have always thought of snoring as a person sleeping in slumberland, but what it is really it's your airway closing. But the effects of that airway closing, not getting enough oxygen to your brain and your heart, it starts to increase the mortality, and you start to have issues with heart attacks, strokes, and issues with hormones and stuff like that. And so in places that, just across the U.S., and we see that obesity, for example, is one of the big issues that causes sleep apnea. So as the weight goes up above 185 pounds or so, and we're all cultural people, so we like to eat food in the U.S., we eat a lot of different foods and stuff. So obesity has become a big issue, and that has started to cause a lot of these pulmonary problems. Even simple problems like asthma, COPD, weight, the mass itself, can cause a person to start to breathe difficult. And then when they lay down, that airway starts to close very quickly.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, snoring is not a good thing.
It's not a good thing. And we have drawn pictures about it historically. We have talked about it. I mean, from India, people said they're sleeping well. It's in our language. They said they're getting a good sleep, but it's really they're struggling to breathe. So that misnomer is a big change in cultural perception. And so when we started to educate people and started to explain that, and we started to treat them, we started to see good responses. But that education is a layering effect. Over and over again, you have to teach the public, respond to it, and go from there.
So I think that's an interesting point that you make, because here, I'm in a vision, I grew up here, and you always said somebody is fast asleep, they're in a sound sleep because they're snoring hard.
Yes.
The idea is that if you're snoring, then it means that you're having a very good sleep. But here you are telling me that snoring is actually a sign that your body is struggling to get sufficient oxygen.
And if you're snoring and you stop breathing, where you'll hear a person, and I can do it on here, is where they hear them going, and they stop breathing and go, and catch their breath again, that's a true apnea. That means they're actually airways closing completely.
Oh, wow.
And so when that airway closes, you're just not getting oxygen to the brain and to the heart. And so that mortality picks up. And actually, it's with kids too. Kids who have focus issues, attention deficit issues and stuff like that, it's because they're not sleeping well. So, and what's happened in the past decade or so is that young kids are gaining weight very quickly because of different foods and stuff like that. We're eating more processed foods. So sleep apnea is very prevalent now in the younger population. And on top of that, also asthma and other pulmonary issues. So, and then we're also becoming very deconditioned. We're not exercising as much as we should be. So your lungs are not getting that exercise. They're becoming very deconditioned. So a simple, if you walk up a flight of stairs and you get short of breath, that's a sign that you're deconditioned. And a lot of people probably will feel that,
So I can tell you, my wife complains that I snore, so I'm very nervous right now. It's something. But I found out that I only snore if I'm sleeping on my back.
Yes, because when you lay on your back, you're on your supine, and gravity is the most then. So remember, we don't have sleep apnea in space because there's no gravity. So astronauts who sleep on their back, they won't snore. But if that same astronaut came down and slept on Earth, they would snore. So when you lay on your back, it's the worst, and so gravity starts to make you snore, and you turn. So people will say, I sleep on my side, or I sleep on my stomach, but really when you do a sleep study, which is the way you diagnose sleep apnea, and there are two types, a home study and an in-lab, you can tell how bad their heart is doing, how bad the oxygen is, and how bad the sleep apnea is. And that technology has changed in the past decade or so. Versus before, when you did a sleep study, you'd have to go into a room, you'd have to have all these wires, you'd have to have the glue touch your hair, you'd have to have all your nail and lacquer, I don't know too much about nails, but all the stuff that comes off your nails has to come off. And so it was a very uncomfortable thing, so people hated doing these type of screenings. Well, now you can do a sleep study with a simple device that's disposable, and you go to sleep, you just connect it to your phone, and it can tell you very quickly whether you have sleep apnea or not. So the first time we came down here, we brought those devices. We got some sponsorship when we brought them down here. This time we brought a different device that's even smaller. It's at the tip of your fingertip. It's called a night owl. And it's disposable, so you don't have to bring it back. So we left those devices here, and Dr. Hobson and other physicians dispensed them out to patients who had very severe symptoms. And then we were able to read it too because it was on a simple cell signal. So that we could read it and use telehealth services and deliver the reports back to them and then treat them and go from there.
Oh, wow. So this is really using technology now to,
Yes.
to take us forward. Could that, Dr. George, be one of the answers? Because as somebody who's charged as a member of government with shaping policy for the island, as I say, healthcare is a significant issue everywhere in the world. It's a significant issue for us. The lack of resources really prevents us from having access to all of the specialities that we would like. But could technology be probably part of the answer? Taking yourself as a pulmonologist, we may not have a resident pulmonologist here, but if, as you say, we can use technology and have access to you or someone like you, even though you are living in the United States, that might be the answer.
For sure. So like I'll give my mom the credit for this. So when she passed away, she left us with a primary care office. And one of the issues in the U.S. is still the issue of access to specialists. It takes a long time to get to a specialist. So in her practice, we brought the specialist to the primary care level. So if a patient was sick, they could see us by telehealth or they could see us immediately, we would overbook into the system. And by use of this technology where we would dispense these type of home studies out, they could get their tests done quickly. And so what the tests have done for us is that it allows rapid screening for diseases, and then for us for sleep apnea. And so when you do rapid screening, you get more data and hopefully positive and negative screening, and people have answers, and they can screen and catch it earlier, and so they can then make a decision, you know, whether they want to treat it or go forward, but you know the answer. I think that's a big part. And I think that's where I think we've made big changes in the past decade or so.
So let me go back to sleep apnea because, as I said, I've been accused of snoring, so it's important. And I think that the myth that we have here is part of our culture, that snoring is, as you say, suggestive that we're having a good sleep.
Great sleep, yeah.
You know, when you're now telling our public that that is in fact not a good sign if we're snoring. But going back to that, I mentioned sleeping on your back, that the snoring, you agree that that is probably one of the positions as you sleep that causes you to snore. Is it that you would suggest then that people do not sleep on their backs?
Well, we all have to sleep in some way horizontally, right?
Right.
And so people who have mild sleep apnea, they're going to have worse sleep apnea when they do sleep on their back. But think of it as compounded interest, that even if you're mildly snoring over a period of 10, 20 years, as we age, we go from our 30s to our 40s to our 50s, that compounded interest, like credit card debt, it's a good example, it will catch up to us that when by the time we hit 50, the effects of that on your heart, so you get cardiomegaly, the effects on your brain, so you get early signs of dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, you know, your blood work, hormones. In my males, you know, one way I screen them is I screen for testosterone, because if I know their testosterone is low, sleep apnea causes low testosterone. So, you know, that's kind of a below the belt hit, but I can, you know, I can say, hey, are you having issues with libido and stuff like that? So, you know, explaining that to the public and showing them that, hey, this chronic poor sleep is affecting your longevity, has an effect on your mortality. The other way to ask people and screen them is, when I talk to them, is I say, you should always wake up, no matter how old you are, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. You should always wake up fresh. You should, whether you're a 20-year-old, a 50-year-old, a 70-year-old, when you wake up, you should feel good, energetic, and your mind should be awake. And if you're not, you should ask yourself why. Because when you go to sleep, you should sleep well for that 7 hours. And that studies have shown that 7 to 8 hours of good sleep is very, very important. And the timing of sleep. So people who do shift work, there's an increase in mortality. So we call that the good sleep method. So that you go to sleep before 12 and you get up by 7 or 8. And I'll add in, doctors are the worst patients, males and probably doctors. So I use a CPAP. I never had a sleep study. I was snoring a lot. My wife was saying I was snoring, had a hard time focusing. And then a friend said, hey, why don't you take the CPAP machine and wear it? And I wore it and never looked back. And I feel fresh. I feel good all the time. But that was what made me a big kind of advocate for sleep apnea and treating it. And we use that as, I use myself as an example of that.
So, Dr. George, you're dropping some gems here tonight,
Yes.
because you're telling me that if you're not sleeping well, it can over time lead to serious conditions like heart disease. It can lead to even low testosterone.
Yes, neurologic, hormonal changes, diabetes,
even dementia.
dementia.
So sleep is connected to all of this. That's your suggestion.
Yeah, and if you think of sleep, think of it like it's not even sleep. It's the flow of oxygen. It's a plumbing problem due to gravity. So when you lay down, that gravity is closing your airway and you're just not getting enough oxygen. And if you think about it, as humans, we need oxygen. So if you think about like an aquarium with a fish tank, when we put the bubbler in there, if it didn't get good oxygen, that fish would start to kind of float semi-side, right? And we were like, oh, I need to fix the oxygen. That's the same thing. It's like we have to have good oxygen every day. And I think the misnomer has always been that we have thought for the longest time snoring was a good sleep. And I think if we were to do a campaign, we have to say, do you snore? And if you do snore, then get a sleep study and do a home study, because it's an easy, disposable screening tool. We screen for colonoscopies in the U.S. at 50. Not very excited about going through a colonoscopy, right? I've avoided mine. Doctors make the worst patient. I'll use myself again here. But this is a disposable unit. It's available. It's getting cheaper. And for a simple test that you go to sleep with and get the answer, I think it's something that can save a lot of people's life. I would think of it this way. It can take you off that compounded interest that you're accumulating and really give you a number of what that interest is.
So let's look at solutions, Doc. You take the home test, you do the in-lab tests. I can't remember the language you said, but
the sleep study.
The sleep study,
yep.
and you recognize that there is a problem. Okay, so for those men out there with low libido, that's a big problem in the Caribbean. Yep. You have low testosterone. You find out that you're snoring really hard at night. You're probably a little overweight. What then are some of the possible solutions? Are there simple things that can be done that might help, or are we talking about major interventions like surgery and all that's necessary? So in your practice, how do you address it if someone presents and you say, listen, you do have a problem, maybe it's mild sleep apnea or maybe it's more than mild, but what are some of the corrective measures that people can take? People out there listening right now and saying, you know what, I snore all the time. I didn't realize it was a problem. What can I do?
Yeah, so the first thing is, you want to approach it from a non-evasive strategy point. So weight loss is a big thing. So you want to decrease the weight. And I'll give you a target weight. You want to get below 185. So men are going to be more loud snorers than women. So women are actually harder to screen because they tend to, they purr. They don't snore as loud, right? But men are very heavy snorers because of their male musculature. So you can treat it by doing weight loss, and the main treatment is using a CPAP machine. The problem with CPAP machine is it's a mask you wear. A decade ago or so, it looked like Darth Vader, scuba diving gear that you put on your face. So people weren't really into it. A lot of people have said it's not very romantic. It's not very nice to wear a hose. So the masks have got very, very small. They're like wearing glasses underneath your nose. So I use a CPAP. It's non-invasive. And then we have oral appliances, which is a mouth guard that you can put that shifts the bottom part of your jaw forward. And again, it's that airway that's it's a piping issue, trying to open up that airway, right? So a CPAP pushes air, an oral appliance shifts your jaw, weight loss drops the amount of weight on your lower part of your jaw. And then the more evasive ways is seeing an ear, nose, and throat doctor, so you can open up the airway. The problem sometimes with seeing an ear, nose, throat doctor and getting the airways open is that the tissue can heal back again. So you need a retest to just make sure that that's gone. And then there's a new device which we're using in the U.S. called Inspire, which is using something like a pacemaker, but the wires are flipped up, and ENT puts it on there, and it's like a garage opener device. You put it on your chest at nighttime, turn it on, and it opens up your airway. So there are more evasive ways, but the easiest one is to just lose a weight, retest, use a CPAP, and then get that good sleep. And then the ability of using a sleep study is you can repeat it again, a home study. So you can recheck it and see how well you're doing and make sure it's gone.
So I find it interesting because one of the principles that we have sought to use here in delivering healthcare to our people is really to accept that we cannot afford a lot of the cost associated with curing people when they get sick. So part of what we've tried to do here is more in terms of education, more encouragement in terms of people knowing their status, whether that be blood glucose or blood pressure, whatever it may be. We have at many sort of large events here, you'll always find our people there doing screenings, because we think that that's important to just get our people accustomed to the idea of checking. We have an annual prostate screening exercise that happens here, which attracts well over 500 males each year. And we've seen a corresponding impact in terms of prostate cancer, and even where prostate cancer does occur, in terms of mortality from prostate cancer. So we have emphasized sort of prevention. There's an old saying here, I'm not sure you have that in India, but they say here an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Yes.
Right? So I usually say that, a dollar spent on prevention is worth $1 million of cure, because I think it's a cheaper route to go is to try to prevent. But when we look at the problems that we have and some of the gateway issues that we have that lead to death here, or lead to people just not having morbidity and not having active lifestyles. We keep coming up with the non-communicable diseases. And there's a lot of emphasis here on trying to fight diabetes, trying to fight hypertension, trying to fight certain cancers. At our hospital, we've invested in new, mammography equipment, etc. The whole idea is that we have a lot of emphasis on those. And what we have been preaching is that lifestyle impacts a lot of those. You mentioned food. You're from India. From Africa, I'm sorry, but from an Indian background in terms of that. So you would understand that we eat a lot of things that are probably not
high starch, yes.
high starch, high cholesterol, high everything. I was saying to Ursula tonight that I had some fried chicken tonight, and she chastised me. But we eat a lot. Here we have one of my favorite things is something we call cook-up, which is rice with some kind of salt pork of some kind and chicken, all sort of mixed in one pot. It's something that we do. We eat fried fish, fried chicken, and we understand that it's not the best thing to do in terms of the quality of food, but also in terms of the sedentary lifestyle that is set in. A lot of people are working long hours. A lot of people are working 2 jobs. When people get time off, they say, listen, I just want to relax. I don't want to go to exercise. I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to go to any of that. So we have been pushing this idea that by tweaking lifestyle, you could impact those issues. But what I find interesting, Dr. George, is that we have really not had any emphasis on pulmonary issues. So our focus has largely been, diabetes, hypertension, cancers, but very, very little emphasis on what you're saying. And in fact, what you're saying in terms of sleep and snoring, things like asthma and is it called COPD?
COPD, yep.
COPD. Those might well be creating tremendous harm in our community without us really paying attention to them. And if I'm hearing you correctly, it sounds like you're saying that a lot of the things that we encourage to do in terms of lifestyle changes to address the possibility of diabetes and hypertension, etc., could also assist us. Weight loss, exercise, with some of these issues.
Yeah, so good sleep is very, very important, and from a pulmonary standpoint, just focusing on sleep, and I think a lot of it's gone back to the misnomer again that we have always thought snoring was okay, that we were in a good slumberland, and over the past quarter century, the 2 things that have also affected the issue of pulmonary diseases is access. So you want to get folks to be able to access those pulmonary diseases, or that access to good care very quickly. So I think that's important, and good screening allows that access. You want to be able to screen people faster and get those diagnoses in quicker so you can get that data. And sleep has been something that's been kind of, how do you say, a nighttime issue. So people are asleep, so why do you worry about it, right? But now we're knowing more and more that, hey, that noise at nighttime is really not good sleep. It's keeping the spouse awake and probably affecting your health, and honestly affecting the spouse too, because they're not getting good rest too. So that has been a big eye-opener, And then the other thing is good sleep hygiene, really sleeping on time. I mean, we follow circadian rhythms, so if you sleep past 12 o'clock every day, it is very unhealthy. You know, and so you need to be able to sleep before 12. You should get up early, and you have to have 7-8 hours of sleep. So this is where technology is kind of coming in a little bit too. Now you have all these fancy watches and rings and stuff like that that actually monitor your body movements. You have beds and that can see how well you're moving and stuff. So we're able to now pick up more data, and so in the same way we can see how well we're sleeping. You can see effectively how healthy you are. And the other thing that's been also a huge issue is mortality has changed. So now we are living longer. Our lifespan is, when I talk to my patients, my goal is to get my patients to be healthy all the way past 75 years old. And we call it walking and talking. You need to be able to walk 2 miles within less than 45 minutes. The study was done a 15-minute mile.
At 75?
75.
Oh, wow.
You should be, yeah. And you should be able to talk, because, you know, cognition, conversation is an early sign of, you know, cognitive changes. So if a 75-year-old can talk easily, they can have good conversation, and they can walk and move at a quick pace, you know, they're probably pretty healthy in a good place, you know. So that's where I think, you know, screening is very, very important. I think that's something that needs to be done. And I think, honestly, in the past quarter century, it's been access. Access has been a, you know, hard thing. So even well-to-do countries, to get to see a pulmonologist, you have to go through 2 or 3 different tiers. And that shouldn't be the case. You should be able to just check mark it and get access. So that's what we've been doing here. Is we've been coming to the hospital, we've been screening, thanks to Ursula and a lot of her connections and stuff, and kind of taking that time to look at strategies and push through. The other thing that's changed in strategies since COVID is the telehealth. So telehealth has allowed us to communicate with people across the world because of technology. And the phones, kids are using FaceTime or WhatsApp, or, you know, abilities to talk to each other. So a lot of diseases can be screened across a phone. You know, there are apps out there that if a person is coughing, you can tell if they have postnasal drip, reflux, or pneumonia, just from the phonetics on the phone. So these type of technologies are allowing us to telehealth and screen people remotely. And we've shown, like for sleep apnea, that we can see their compliance, we can see how well they're doing, and not be here at all. We can be back in the U.S. and we can check in with them and stuff. So I think the use of technology and some of those things is helping screen faster. And then ultimately education. You have to educate the public. And you know, healthcare is not exciting. It's a lot of people, you have to make it exciting. If you say, I'm going to the hospital or I'm going to the med spa sounds a little bit more exciting, right? But it has to be still a core part of our, you know, what we do every day. So that's creating a good behavior that eventually becomes a good habit. And that takes about 90 days, right, to do that. So good sleep, we've been able to show that if you teach people how to sleep, you teach them how to get to bed early, get to, you know, wake up early, and, you know, follow a good behavior that becomes a good habit, you will naturally go to sleep on time every day.
So let me ask you, so give us some free advice. Well, all your advice tonight is free. I can't afford to pay for it. So you in terms of your recommendation, so I'm male, mid-50s, what would you say is a reasonable hour for people to go to bed?
You should go to sleep before 12, for sure.
Before midnight,
Yes.
okay.
You should put your phones down an hour before you go to sleep. And you should not let your sleep cycle and your digestive cycle cross over, so you need to be done with your meals by 6 or 7. That's really hard, because even in our own family, I'm picking up a Chick-fil-A sandwich at 9 o'clock.
Right.
Fried chicken, right? So, but so we're eating late, and eating late causes insomnia. We eat our heavier meals at the end of the day. We should be going the other way around. We should be eating a good meal in the morning. You eat like a king, then like a prince, and then like a pauper.
Yeah, okay.
So that early meal has to be done by 6 or 7. And then you have to exercise. You have to move the body, and that's been shown, 2 miles. But that allows you, when you work out, you're moving your digestive system, you're, you know, creating good flow, but you're also releasing hormones and chemicals in the system that allow you to get a good rest. So, you know, you have to get that exercise. And that's been studied. It's about 2 miles, you know. Then if you can do that, you start to create good habits. For me, for example, I don't use an alarm clock now. I can get into bed before 12. I wake up by 6:30. You know, easy. We have chickens at home, so they wake us up anyway pretty early. So, but, you know, we're up early. I feel good. I use a CPAP. I feel fresh, and the energy levels are going through. And maybe 1 cup of coffee a day, and that's it.
Okay, okay. Well, that's interesting because, you know, in my line of work, you know, stress is my constant companion. You know, one of the problems I have is that it's very difficult to switch off.
Yes.
You know, and I hear what you say about the phones, because literally sometimes I'm putting my phone down a minute before I decide I'm going to go to sleep. But being able to sort of disconnect with it, and then, you know, I try to go to sleep. I'm having difficulties because after an hour trying to sleep, I'm thinking about things I have to do, things that I forgot to do, things that I need to ensure that I do the following day. And I've been known to pop up at 3 in the morning to make a note because I don't want to forget to do this tomorrow. So it's very difficult, because you talked about good habits. It's very difficult sometimes, because when you've lived a life of sort of being programmed to continually go hard, and then culturally, you know, there's that as well. People tell you, well, you know, you need to push, you know, go as hard as you can, do as much as you can, because time is short. You have to produce as much as you can. But all of those sort of cultural ideas are the antithesis of good health and good sleep.
Well, and the thing is, you know, and that's why they say, even the saying, doctors make the worst patients, right? It's because, you know, even as like for us, for physicians and stuff, we work so hard and we take care of patients all day long. We don't take care of ourselves as well. But I think the way you have to look at life is, especially as you come close to 50, you have to make a transition where you're working for yourself and not working for a system. And that transition may still be that you enjoy your work, but you're working for your health. And that's a very important, because think about it this way, that if you had bad health later in life, that suffering, the cost of health care is just so much more, because we are living longer and we're having to have more chronic diseases, you know, 70, 80 years old. So the key is to invest in your health early, create good behavior, so that becomes your retirement fund. Now, you brought up this good point about cutting off, and I'm on the same page with you there. I can tell you my time to cut off is probably around 6:30. Like, you have to pick a time where at 6:30 you're done with work. You shut off the work and you do something else. You have to have a hobby. Gardening, you know, chickens, or doing something, fried chicken, you're cooking. Find something else that you do that you enjoy that's still mechanical, because, you know, we're very workaholics, but that's not connected to your work. And the problem with the phones and stuff like that, or computers and stuff like that, is that because it's not mechanical, we're tied to it so hard that that starts to kind of burn your brain out a bit too. And so you have to cut that out. And they've studied that. They've looked at, you know, the amount of hours that people are on phones and stuff, and it starts to become a very lethargic lifestyle. Good.
It's quarter to the hour of 9 o'clock. We are here. If you're here with us, then you are listening to On the Mark, right here in the Eastern Caribbean's only powerhouse, VON Radio, the voice of Nevis. We have with us tonight a very special guest, Dr. George, who's a pulmonologist. And for those of you who are wondering what a pulmonologist is, like I was wondering, it is someone who deals with the lungs and with all aspects of breathing. I hope I have that right. You know, whether it's asthma, COPD, sleep apnea, those types of issues, a pulmonologist will be the best person for you to see. We do not have a pulmonologist in Nevis on staff with us, or resident here. And so through the assistance, invaluable assistance of Ursula Philip, she has brought Dr. George to us. And Dr. George, what you will realize is we say in Nevis, you're only a stranger once. So I'm pretty sure people are recognizing you now and reaching out to you, and you realize that we are a very hospitable people, and people will welcome you. That's just the way we are. So Dr. George is here tonight, and we hope at some point to open the phones and take some calls. One of the big lessons tonight: if you're snoring, that's not healthy. That's not good. And so that thing that we used to say, that if you're snoring, it means you're in a deep, good sleep, that's not the case. We're hearing tonight that sleeping for 7-8 hours, having a good rest is critical to your health. It can impact all aspects of your health. It can impact, I think the men are going to be very interested to know that it can impact their libido. So all you men out there who are not doing what you're supposed to be doing, sleep might be the answer. Right? Not Guinness, not Viagra, not Cialis, but sleep. And listen, sleep is a lot cheaper than Viagra. So that's a good lesson, because you're also helping us to save money. That if you just sleep better, you can solve a lot of problems. I'm hearing that your ability to sleep well is connected with you know, dementia and preventing the onset of that. So I and speaking for myself, never recognized the incredible value of a good night's sleep. In fact, one of my brothers, if he's listening, he usually listens to the show, he always used to tell me when he dies he has a long time to sleep. So he doesn't sleep much at all. He gets by on like 4 hours a day. And I always used to think that that was something that I should aspire to, you know, to work in as much as possible and get in as little sleep as possible. But here you are telling us that for better health, to you know, delay the onset of various illnesses, that getting a good night's rest is actually quite important.
Yeah, even naps. You take daytime naps less than 40 minutes, 20 to 40 minutes. It allows the brain, I use the word percolate, and percolate means like, you know, it's water going through like the rocks. It allows the brain to percolate well. Like a good nap will allow you to do that. But really, that's what you're doing when you're asleep, is you're allowing your brain to actually rest. And what people think of sleep, and the way I would say it is like, it's a time for regeneration. It's been shown that the body is taking time away to do other things it needs to do. So it's taking time to heal, it's taking time to recover. And they've shown that it's like you're pruning a tree. The memories that you've had through that day, your brain is kind of reinforcing it, protecting it, and it starts to store it away in good memory storage. So that sleep is important for that process. So you've noticed that sometimes if you get good sleep, your memory is sometimes sharper, but if you don't get good sleep, we become absent-minded, foggy. Yeah. And so when we're foggy, then we're trying to do memory connections, and we have to do multiple connections. Say, I was at that corner of the street, oh, that was where Chick-fil-A was. Versus if you've had good sleep, your memory recalls very fast. And that's that percolation, that pruning that occurs. So your body needs that time. So the same thing connects with, you know, eating late. If you have indigestion, my mom was a great cook. She had a lot of spicy foods. If I had a 9 o'clock pickle curry, I would have insomnia because I couldn't sleep. It was good food. We eat late. Indians eat very late. But the problem was that insomnia is taking up my time when the body needs to be doing other things.
Let me ask you, in terms of, as you say, eating. So you're suggesting to us that we should get into bed before midnight, and we should usually be done with eating by about 6:30. You said,
yes,
p.m. And that's the best suggested. What about alcohol?
Alcohol is the same thing. Alcohol in the past few years have shown that, you know, alcohol is a big business industry, right? So it has recently been shown that alcohol is not good for your health. And that stand has caused a lot of political shakeup. So before cardiac health, they would say, you know, an ounce of alcohol is good for you. But from a sleep standpoint, if you do drink alcohol at nighttime, you're going to get a poor sleep. And because alcohol itself does not promote good sleep. And even sleep aids, so I'll bring that up here. So people take melatonin. Melatonin is not good for you. Benadryl, it's a generic medication, it's diphenhydramine. It's put into Tylenol PM and, you know, different ZQL and stuff like that. Benadryl has been shown for long-term can cause dementia. So you want to be able to take medicines for a need if you need something, but not for long-term. You really want to be able to go to sleep without any medications. Now, there are some natural substances, chamomile tea, we call it sleepy time and stuff like that. It works well. But really, I think you brought up a good point, is reduction of stress. When you go, and I think that's an important way to think about it. When you wake up in the morning, you're waking up with a fresh mind. I call it Project Sunshine. You're positive energy, you're moving forward. And when you go to sleep and the sun sets, you're cleaning your day out and closing it. And you're reducing that stress and allowing your body to heal. Because when you go to sleep with stress, you're waking up at 3 because you forgot something. Because that's the only moment that your body gets to catch up. And you don't want stress to be hitting that point.
So I again, going back to myself, I'm patient zero for the moment here. So going back to myself, I often wake up tired. So I get up in the morning and I feel like a train ran over me. You know, I'm tired. I try to exercise each morning, but just getting out of bed before the exercise. What I find is after I've exercised, I feel quite good. I feel refreshed. But just waking up in the morning, I feel tired. I feel, you know, like, as I say, I wake up tired. So would that, you think, be connected with not getting a good night's sleep?
For sure. And I would probably recommend a home study or something like that, to do a study just to see where you're at. Because if you find out you're positive on that study, then we can go through different treatments. And in the U.S. now, you know, with the whole weight loss, you know, boom and stuff there are medications, Zepbound, one of the medicines now, that's been indicated for sleep apnea. So there are actual medicines that actually can help you accelerate your weight loss. Although I recommend still pushing the weight loss the natural way. But if you need to lose weight to help with your sleep, and if you have a positive diagnosis, that's one of the indications to do that.
Let me go now and ask a question, because this whole idea of artificial intelligence has become a big thing globally. AI, can AI do anything? I've sought to explain some of the challenges we have in healthcare here, in terms of small islands, small budgets, small population, limited access to human resources and financial resources. How are you seeing AI being used in your practice in the United States, and are there any tools there that you think we could use here to assist us in moving healthcare forward?
Yeah, I think AI is really good. It's an amazing tool to assist us to reduce some of the manpower that we need. It can help, so when in the hospital setting or in the office, we use AI to scribe our notes, to go through the patients. You can use AI to do research for you and could go through all your sleep studies to find out which is mild, moderate, or severe. So AI is a very powerful tool, and it's available on a lot of devices already. So, the ability for, when we do the sleep studies, you can have the AI screen the sleep studies, and if there's a very positive sleep study, bring that up to the forefront and get you notified like that. AI is a very good research tool, puts down, research very quickly and collate the stuff. And in fact, in radiology and some of that, the pre-screening of some of this, the radiographs and the CTs and stuff is done by AI and then finally managed out. So there are workflows already coming in healthcare that is making it cheaper and faster to go through that, and it is turning over Google search basically. And even for patients now, if you need to ask questions, there are ways to ask AI and get an answer and say, hey, I'm not getting enough sleep, or I'm snoring a lot, I'm feeling very tired. A lot of patients are already using AI to get 70–80% of their answers, and then going to the doctor, saying Dr. Google, and giving the response. So I think it's a powerful tool. I think it'll help with workflows, and I think in areas that have access issues, I think it'll be a big change.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us Dr. George, who is a pulmonologist. He is a visiting physician who's here to assist us, and he is on his second trip seeing patients here and dealing with issues of the lungs. So asthma, COPD, sleep apnea, etc. He is someone who has come and is sharing his talents with us, and we are very grateful to him. And he thought that he would come here on the show tonight to share some knowledge and share some information and frankly answer questions that you may have. Now, Dr. George, I should warn you that this show is a political show. And so when the lines open, there's some out there who would like to call in and get political. Callers, I'm asking you please to respect the fact that Dr. George is not a politician. He has come as a physician to share his expertise with us and to try to assist the island. He is part and parcel of our overall effort to deliver better health care to the people of Nevis, and we are thankful and grateful to him and to Ursula for putting this all together for us and for bringing expertise to us that we don't have. So if you're out there, you have a question to ask about any of the areas that he has expressed in terms of areas covered by his expertise, please feel free to call in and to ask. If there are questions you have about healthcare more broadly, but I want us to be focused tonight. If you want to call in to talk about something political, I'll be back next week. We could get into that. So tonight I really just want us to see if we can focus on making this show as substantive and as beneficial as we can, because we won't have access to Dr. George after tonight. He certainly may be on another trip, but certainly he's not going to be here every week. So I want you to use the time, please, if you have issues, if you have concerns. Now, the numbers to call are 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. I'm told the phones are lit up already, so let's go. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Ms. Sheriff, good evening.
How are you?
I am good.
Great.
Good night to Dr. George. Dr. George, they have a lot of fat people here.
A lot of what people?
Fat people
Fat.
in Nevis. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're BCP.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, I stop eat at night 6 o'clock. I don't eat 6 o'clock after 6. I finish eat 6 o'clock. And at night when I go to sleep, I get up in the morning, I give myself about 2 minutes, drink a cup of water, and start to move to do my exercise. Is that good?
Yeah, that's very good. I think that's a good way to approach your diet and your digestion. So when you go to sleep, that food is digested well, so it doesn't come back up, at nighttime, because that's always a risk with patients that if they have undigested food, they can aspirate, right? So that's actually a good approach to your digestion.
Thank you. Proverbs 2, verse 1 and 2. My son, if thou wilt receive my words and hide my commandments with thee, so that thou incline thy ears unto wisdom and apply thy heart unto understanding. Have a good evening. Good night, Dr. George. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for that. And just so you know, Dr. George, we have some regular callers to the show. This caller is almost always the first caller. And she always calls in to share scripture of her choosing.
Okay.
So your mom would love this,
Yes,
because
yes.
that's what she does. So
Good
we want to
medicine.
thank her. We're taking your calls, ladies and gentlemen, at 869-469-1616. 869-469-1700. Dr. George is here. He's a pulmonologist visiting, and he has has given us some of his time this evening to share with us his expertise, to answer questions that you may have. And we are learning some interesting things tonight. For those of you who are just joining us, we've learned that if you're snoring, it doesn't mean that you're having a good sleep. It means that you have a problem. And if you're not getting a good night's sleep, if you're not getting enough sleep, that can lead to a lot of other significant problems. And so we would want to explore those, explode some of those myths and cultural mores that we have that are just not good for us, and really start that process of education and re-education. And so if you want to call in and weigh in on this, what we're doing, what we're trying to do in terms of healthcare, I would welcome your calls at 869-469-1616 or 869-469-1700. Now, Dr. George, while we wait for the phones to ring, I'm a little curious. We have, as I said, quite a few what I would call general GPs, general practitioners, people who have their medical degree and have come back to serve. Let's go to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening, Mr. Brantley.
Good evening to you. Could you raise your voice, please?
Yeah, good evening, Dr. George.
Good evening.
I listen carefully. Dr. George, I sleep on my stomach, so I sleep on my back, so we're not going to get into it. But before I go to sleep at night, I do my breathing exercise, which consists of holding my breath for 3 minutes and doing some other exercise, so I normally go to sleep quite well. So I don't really have much of a problem. My problem, if it is any, is that I've been a musician most of my life, and I sleep funny. I admit that. I deal with it. But when I wake up in the morning, Mr. Brantley, I feel refreshed. I'm sorry about you feeling the raging. I just want to go off for 1 second now. Mr. Brantley, I don't know if you know that I'm 70 years old right now.
Wow.
What I found is that when you go to the hospital, the chairs are a bit low for people 65 and over. So could you check all that stuff, please?
So you're saying that the chairs are a bit low? Is that?
If you are 65, 70, up to 70 or 80, you will find that the chairs are too low for senior citizens, which I am one right now.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for sharing that. I confess I have not had that said to me before, so
okay.
I'm grateful that you've shared that, and I'm happy that you're sleeping well.
Yeah, thanks.
Good.
But,
all right.
Well, one piece of
Sure.
advice, Mr. Brantley. If you send someone to measure the chair, make sure you send a senior citizen with them. Okay.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much. We're taking your calls. 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Dr. George, a question I wanted to ask is for young doctors out there who might be listening, who might be interested in pulmonology, what type of period of additional study are we talking about? I mean,
So for us, I was certified in, it took us 3 years. So after you did your internal medicine, it was 3 more years for critical care and pulmonary.
okay. Okay.
And if you do sleep, it's an extra year. But the access for sleep for you brought up an issue about like primary care doctors and general internal medicines. They all can do sleep studies. They can all use home studies. We advocate for primary care doctors to do it, especially the home studies, to do the screening with that, because that's a very simple study now. It's the units are disposable, so you don't even have to bring it back. You can just dispense it at the office, and the reads on the unit are done by telehealth or remotely, so you can get the results back. So it's a very nice. It's like you doing a mammogram or doing some other testing. I think we just have to advocate more for it and educate the general practitioners. And that's what we're doing here at Nevis, is that we're leaving those home studies here,
Right.
and getting sponsorship to let the primary care doctors give it out and get them used to that behavior and that habit, and then get them to study so they can manage those patients, and then we can work with them together and go forward.
Okay, let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
Yes, we're hearing you loud and clear.
All right. Well, I'm a diabetic and I travel with pressure. But if you want to live longer, you have to take very good care of yourself. I'm 63 years old. I born 1961 and I'm 63 and I look like me young, like a 16.
You look like you're
You have
16?
to- That's right.
Who tell you so?
Me. So if you want to live longer,
Yes.
if you want to live longer, you have to take very good. You got to take good care of yourself. Because if you don't take care of yourself, who can do it for you?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, see here what me let's do now.
Uh-huh.
Every morning I get up, is a cup of sauce bush tea.
Mm-hmm.
I drink me soursop juice with no sugar. That's right. I told myself and others, look at me and said you look well for 63.
Mm-hmm. So I know that people used to drink soursop tea to sleep at night. So you drink it in the morning?
Yes.
Wait, hold a second there. Dr. George, soursop is a fruit here.
Okay.
And we use the leaves to make tea.
Okay.
So when I was young, for example, to get people to sleep, they would do soursop tea. So if people use soursop tea to sleep, you use it to wake up? Hello?
Yes.
you
So-
you don't hear me?
So, yes, loud and clear. I am a Nivision, but we are but a living station. I'm a born and reared Nivision. In the basics. I come up in the basics.
Where in Nevis you from? Hello?
Yes.
Actually, where in Nevis are you from?
I'm from Gingerland,
Gingerland? Okay.
but my parents them in Brown Hill.
Oh, okay.
From the top to bottom and in over to Cox,
Okay.
Coal Hill,
All
you
right.
name them.
Okay.
Rollins Mountain, you name
So
them.
you're from all over Nevis?
That's right, and they are all my family them be.
All right. Well, good. Well, I'm very grateful for your call. Are things good in Stacia?
Yes, yes.
I heard you had a wonderful agricultural day. A lot of people from here went down. Yes.
You were good. Yes,
Okay.
you were good.
All right. Well, thank you for your call.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right. God bless you. All right. We have, it's 7 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock, and we continue to take calls at 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Now, Dr. George, I don't want to impose on Julie. You say you have to get to bed. So are you comfortable staying
yes.
with me?
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely. Yes.
So Dr. George is staying with us. So if you have calls out there, gentlemen, if you're not sleeping well, ladies, if you're not sleeping well, if you have asthma, if you have COPD, and you would like to see Dr. George, you would like to ask a question, this is your time. As I have asked, please, respectfully, for those of you who have something political to say, come back next week, we deal with you next week. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Hey, Brantley, good night.
Good night.
And good night, Dr. George.
Good night.
Yes. Sometime, Dr. George, we, not the Caribbean here, sometime we use one term, broad brush, and like one size fit all. You know the term there?
One size fits all. Yes,
Yes.
we know the term. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, pertaining to sleep, you got some people, they will sleep on one high pillow.
They sleep on a high pillow?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
With them pillow high. Some no use no pillow at all. Some like a flat pillow. From your point of view, Dr. George, they are nice, comfortable rest. Give me an opinion what you think. No pillow, high pillow, a flat pillow, whatever the case may be. So you listen off here and come back.
All right. Thank you, brother. So, Dr. George,
Yeah.
the question really from the caller has to do with your pillow. So he's saying some people sleep, and okay, so I like to use myself. I'm the patient tonight. I actually sleep on two pillows, stacked one on top of the other. So he's asking, should you use no pillow at all, so you're just completely horizontal? Should you use a single pillow, or should you use a high pillow? What's the suggestion?
Yes, that's a good question. So the higher the pillow, the more your airway is going to open, right? So some of those expensive beds, you can actually elevate the head of the bed. So the more you elevate your head, you're going to reduce some of that snoring. And so they have pillows that actually help people snore better, you know, reduce the reduction of that. But ultimately, it's just gravity. So the more you lay flat on a very flat pillow, and if you have sleep apnea, you're going to snore more.
Okay.
And you will snore more on your back. That's why people turn over. Because remember, it's still a oxygen flow issue. So if you're not breathing well, your body is going to say, turn over, turn over. And that's what that sleep study shows. It's like how many times you're sleeping on your back, how many times you're sleeping on your side, and how bad that sleep apnea is.
So you're saying that when you're turning, or you say toss and turn, that could be your body saying it needs oxygen?
Yes. And in fact, a lot of people have something called restless leg syndrome, or periodic leg movements, where their legs move a lot, and their spouse will say, you're kicking me a lot. That's because of poor oxygen flow all the way down to your feet. So remember, it's oxygen that's not getting to the tissues that's hurting the body. So your heart pumps harder, so eventually you'll end up getting on blood pressure medications. And usually if a person has had 2 or 3 blood pressure medications, you probably want to get a sleep study. And now the cardiologists, that's what they're doing. They're telling their patients to get a sleep study if they're coming in and they're starting to get onto 2 or 3 blood pressure medications. Uncontrolled diabetic, the same thing. Endocrinologist is saying, hey, get a sleep study done because your metabolism is affected, and so diabetes is harder to control. So it's still a gravity issue, and going back to the pillow, the more you lift your head up, and eventually if you lift your head up too high, you're going to hurt your neck, and then you're going to have neck pain and shoulder pains and stuff like that. So you want to stay on a good, I use like a foam pillow, so it kind of takes the shape of your head a little bit. It doesn't go too flat, but keeps it just a little bit elevated, but not enough where it starts to hurt your neck.
Okay. Good. Let's go back to the phones. We're taking your calls. No? Caller, please call back in. Be patient with us. We're trying to get through your calls and try to answer. We have with us a very special guest tonight, Dr. George, who has come in to share his expertise. He's a pulmonologist. And if you have respiratory problems of some kind, if you want advice, if you want some guidance, then please feel free to call in. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Hello, good evening. To follow up on a question, the doctor, when you're on your back and you start to snore, your body will tell you, well, you need to change your position. So what position do you change to? Do you change to on the side or on your stomach? That's my question.
So you usually roll on your side.
That's my question.
And then eventually a lot of people who are very overweight, they feel more comfortable sleeping on their stomach.
So, the caller, I hope you got that. That the suggestion is that you would normally roll on your side, and then for heavier people, sometimes they end up sleeping on their stomach. So, but if you were listening to the show from the start, what Dr. George was indicating is that when you're on your back, it's because of the position and the impact of gravity, it is the positioning that leads perhaps to you snoring the most. And so maybe if you sleep on your side or you sleep on your stomach, that might be easier.
Yeah, so normally what a spouse will say is, I had to give him or her a nudge for them to roll off their back because their snoring's really loud, and that's how they get them to stop snoring.
Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, to hear you, you have to talk louder and into the phone, please.
Calling to ask the doctor about pulmonary fibrosis.
Pulmonary what?
Fibrosis.
Okay. Do you have a specific question?
If he deals with pulmonary fibrosis.
Or does he deal with pulmonary fibrosis? Okay.
Yeah. So we do deal with pulmonary fibrosis. It's an interstitial lung disease, and it's screened by doing a CT scan, and you can diagnose it through that. So usually you'll see it on an X-ray and a CT scan.
I was diagnosed with pulmonary fibrosis.
So, could you repeat that? You said you were diagnosed with pulmonary fibrosis?
Yes.
Okay. Have you had treatment for it, or?
Yes, I'm on treatment.
And are you following with a pulmonologist in?
Yes.
Oh.
But that's in Barbados.
Barbados, okay. And so that's fine. I mean, the issue is access, right? So you're having to travel there back and forth. You're more than welcome when we're here to come see us, and I can give you our opinion, and we can follow up with you.
Okay. Can I have a contact number for you?
The contact number will be at Alexander Hospital.
1 o'clock.
At 1 o'clock.
You got that, caller?
No, from when?
Alexander Hospital from 1 o'clock.
Tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
All right, good.
Yes.
All right. We're taking calls. 869-469-1616 and 1700. Dr. George, obviously we have folks out there who are suffering from some aspects of what you're dealing with in terms of your expertise. Here's a lady who's called in to say that she has been diagnosed, and so certainly I think I know who it is, and she is looking for some assistance. So tomorrow we'll see, caller, what's possible, but in the interim we're taking some more calls. So let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Yes, and another question for the doc.
Yes.
In the snoring department, who snore more, or who more you find snore more often, males or females? How does that work?
So if it's based on decibels, how loud of a snorer you are, so it's usually males tend to have more musculature, so they tend to snore louder, but also it's based on your weight. Now, it's your neck circumference, and also your shape of your face, right? So remember, it's like blowing a flute or a trumpet. It's the way the curve of that air tube is in your throat. So when you're snoring, your tonsils or your airway is closing and you're breathing in, and it's like blowing air through a tunnel. It's making a noise, right? And so the heavier you are, the harder you breathe, you're going to make that noise louder and louder. So men tend to be more louder snorers. But the severity of the disease, remember, snoring is just it's a symptom. The study will tell you the severity of the disease. So you can have a person who's a mild snorer but still have very severe sleep apnea. So the snoring is a good screener that if a person is snoring, they probably need to get a sleep study.
Okay, we're taking your calls. Let's go straight back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Yes, Mr. Brantley, I would like to talk to Dr. George, please.
Dr. George is right here. You want to talk to him off here?
No, on the air.
On the air. Well, go ahead. He's listening.
Okay. I take insulin.
You're taking what? Insulin?
Insulin.
Yeah.
Yes. So I want to know if you know any idea how to come off of it.
How to come off of insulin?
Yes.
Okay. You mean you want to stop taking it?
Yes. And if it's a good idea.
Okay.
So it's usually your primary care doctor that's managing the diabetes, and if you're type 1 or type 2 diabetes, but it's still good management of the medicines and the diet, but still some people, I'm going to use myself, I'm diabetic, still need to use insulin because you have to keep your blood sugar down. And I think you brought up a good point, and I'm going to tie it to to sleep apnea. If you have sleep apnea and diabetes, if you treat the sleep apnea, your diabetes will get better because your body is resting and allowing time to recover. So it's important to think of it that way, that, you know, if you're overweight, above 185 pounds, and you have diabetes, it's probably a good idea to try to see if you have sleep apnea, because we have shown that, you know, diabetes gets better with treatment of sleep apnea. It drops down pretty well.
Okay. All right, caller.
Oh. And a catch-on, what you have this saying? What do you say, I can get out of it?
Well, he's indicating that it's really a matter for your doctor to guide you on that. But what he's suggesting is that he is diabetic as well. That's what he said. And that some insulin is sometimes necessary to assist you in terms of regulating your blood sugar. But if you're getting a good night's rest, it helps with your digestion. It helps with your, allows your body to heal when it's at rest. And so a good night's sleep, he's suggesting, can also assist you in terms of your diabetes and make it a bit better.
I ain't got no problem with sleeping, and I eat less, and I don't eat a lot of junk, you know.
Okay.
I follow up me vegetables and what, different things, but no junk.
So you take insulin what, every day?
No, only one time in the night. 54 in the night, and sugar tablet.
Okay.
One in the night, in the morning, and one at night.
Okay, so
the pressure tablet, one in the morning. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe you need to discuss that with your doctor, in terms of if you want to come off it. If you want to come off it, what your doctor has to tell you about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, right now it not affect me, and thank God for that.
It's not affecting you.
No.
So you feel good.
Yes.
Okay.
And I have a lot of energy.
A lot of energy. Okay.
And I walk go to work, walk, come back home, walk go to church, come back. Yes, I take a lot of walking.
Okay. All right. Good. And how old are you?
63.
63. Okay.
Yes, that's the lady I've been talking to.
Oh, you're the one who say you look 16?
That's right.
Oh.
And you say that as much as you feel. No, sir?
Well, yeah, that is true. So if you feel 16, you feel 16, you know?
Yes, because age on your number.
So maybe it's the insulin.
You understand, because
maybe it's the insulin that you're looking so good.
The more you age, yes, so the more you age go up, the more younger you looking and sexy.
Where say young and sexy? I thought you just say you don't want to go to church. You talk about young and sexy on the phone.
Oh, I mean, the Bible not say it.
All right, my dear. You take care, okay? All the best.
All right, yes.
Good. Okay. It's 20 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock. We have Dr. George with us, who is a visiting pulmonologist, and we're taking your calls at 869-469-1616 and 1700. Dr. George, we have 40 minutes left and the phones are lighting up, so let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening, Dr. George. Welcome to Navy.
Oh, thank you.
I hope you have a good stay.
Oh, yes. People are wonderful here.
My name is Rodney Elliott. What I find out here in Navy now, right, a lot of people, especially young people, and elderly people, right, but mostly younger people, having knee problem.
Having what, knee problem?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I myself, my two knees, I tire and garlic on them and them blister off my knees, but they're getting better. But I see younger people, much people younger than me, and everybody crying for their knee. Go to the hot bath at morning and afternoon, you see much people down there soaking their foot, and they're still crying out for their knees. What you will recommend?
So, but Dr. George is a pulmonologist.
Yeah, but then you see, even they specialize in something, they still know about other things, you know.
Yes, so a lot of knee problems are due to weight, right? So weight gain. So when you gain weight, you're going to have a lot of knee issues there. So a lot of knee problems are just nutrition. So when we're eating a lot of processed foods and like non-organic foods and stuff like that, it starts to cause a breakdown in collagen and stuff like that. So we are seeing more knee problems in young folks because of that. And a lot of it's because of the diet.
Okay.
So Rodney,
Yes.
yeah, I think the suggestion is that if we can control the weight, that might help.
But I find out little children and I got me pain.
Well, there could be a number of reasons for that. I think arthritis as well could lead to that. And I think I've seen instances where people who were very athletic, have knee problems because they used to run or jump, as the case may be. So there could be a number of reasons, but Dr. George is suggesting that having too much weight, being obese, might be an issue as well.
That's all.
Hello?
That's that. I try so many things on my knees and not a thing I work. I try to cut back on a lot of things, eat a lot of vegetables, fruits, and them kind of things, drink mostly water, daily water. I try everything. And then if you walk to Mr. Brantley, you see all kind of people with any problems.
Well, I can't say what the reason may be. There could be a number of factors, but I think it's equally true to say that we have problems with obesity on the island, and being overweight is a problem, because if you're overweight, you're putting more pressure on your knees, on your ankles, etc. So that could be a factor. Obviously, I don't have the answers. I'm not qualified to speak, but based on what Dr. George is suggesting, that being overweight could be a significant factor in that.
What about the little children?
Well, I don't know about little children. You're saying it. I'm not aware, and we can't. I mean, we're not equipped to answer every question. We're just having a general conversation about various things. And as I said,
I see so much young people with knee bands and everything and so, and it bothers me. And then they're saying that there's nothing they could do. They go hot bath, they try all kind of things, they tie up their foot with all kind of things, and no things. So when I heard the doctor there, I was very much impressed.
Yeah, but again, the expertise that Dr. George has is a pulmonologist. So he's a little above the knee. He's your lungs and anything to do with your lungs. So it may be that somebody else, an orthopedic surgeon or somebody, might be better equipped to answer some of the questions about your knees.
Okay, how will I bring you on?
How will I bring you one, you say?
Yeah, man.
We have Dr. Gill is one. Go and see him.
Okay.
All right. It's 25 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock. We're taking your calls. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening. You're on the mark. Hello? Is that caller there? Hello, caller. Are you there? Let's go to this other call. There's someone else calling. Let's try and get this one in.
Hello?
Yes, good evening. You're on the mark. Hello, good evening. Okay, caller, could you please call back in? 869-469-1616. Let's try again. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Good night, Mark.
Yes, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Good night, Dr. George.
How are you?
Good program.
Thank you.
When you sleep and you get to go bathroom and you got problem falling back asleep, what can cause that? I'll listen off here.
You had a question, Dr.
No,
George?
so say it again. So
he says when you're sleeping and you get up to use the bathroom,
okay,
and then you're having problems getting back to sleep, falling back asleep, what can cause it?
Oh, it's a great question. So about 48% of sleep apnea patients have nocturia, which means going to the bathroom at nighttime. So what happens is when you're sleeping, if you have sleep apnea or you're snoring, you're actually pushing down on your bladder, and so people wake up to go to the bathroom. And so that whole process of the feeling to go to the bathroom or actually having to urinate is because of pressure on the bladder. So when you go to the bathroom and come back, you're laying down again, and so that gravity is closing that airway, so you're having a hard time going to sleep. So, and in fact, what you're doing is you're developing insomnia. So this poor rhythm and people always say that I go to the bathroom a lot of times. Some people have urologic issues, where they have a bladder issue and they go, but about half the patients who have sleep apnea do have a urination issue. And so, and that's normal, but again, that's a sign of sleep apnea.
Okay. We have the phones are still lighting up, so Doc, bear with us. We're taking as many calls as we can. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Mr. Brantley, Mr. Hall.
Yes.
I would suggest to Rodney to get some black castor oil and massage the knee in the morning and at night before you go to bed.
Castor oil, you say?
Yeah, and massage the knee.
Listen, if it don't work, I'm not going to jail with you, because if you're giving bad advice to Rodney. You know Rodney?
I know, no. But you see, like, people have these knee problems, but nobody ever massaged the knee. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't have to use castor oil, you know.
So anything to massage the knee?
You don't use baby oil. Do it yourself.
Okay.
You know, you can use baby oil or coconut oil. Use some kind of oil and massage your knee before you go to bed.
All right.
And then when you get up in the morning, massage it again to warm up the muscle and it'll help you walk.
All right. So, Rodney, you're hearing advice from Dr. Hull?
No.
Is that Dr. Hull?
No, at the doctor. Just well done.
All right.
Okay, good night. Mr.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Let's go back to the phones. We're taking your calls. Good evening. You're on the mark.
Yes, Premier Brantley.
Yes.
Yeah, me go ask two questions you have to recognize the difficult to get in, right? So, the first one, okay, let me just do a little quick, me got any problem, same way, but sometimes it's good to take my x-ray, because they use a remedy and so, but now me go is that one bone curve not in it, so you got certain time when it rub. So sometimes more extra good. Okay? That's just one little advice. Pertaining to stress.
Stress?
Stress, yeah. How would that day would work? Because, sometimes somebody even just, there's a stick and stone break bones, but words do no harm, but nothing go so, because sometimes just one little word from somebody, you touch your can, and it stress you. Right. So, that's the job. So, people taking on, like what people say, and stress out themselves, how energy, flow to the brain and so forth. That's one question. You get that?
Yeah, I hear you. Go ahead.
Right. And the next one is one comfortable rest is very, very important.
Yes.
But what will happen now when you know what take one comfortable rest, but your neighbor got some systems outside, on the other side, and disturb you? How that they work out?
Okay.
You get that?
Yeah, I get it.
Okay then.
All right.
Right.
So, Dr. George, this is an interesting show. All right.
So he brought up a good point there. So he brought up some topics of, I heard, stress and anxiety. So I'll speak on that part. So anxiety and stress and depression are very much related to sleep apnea. So a lot of times, a lot of patients are on multiple psych medications, are on antidepressants. People deal with a lot of stress and anxiety because of poor sleep. So if you think about anxiety and stress, I'll reword it and say that if you slept well, you would have a much less stressful day and much less anxiety, and your ability to handle problems would be much more easier. So people who have poor sleep tend to be a lot more anxious and a lot more, they start to develop depression, again, because there's poor oxygen flow going to the brain. And so over a period of time, they may go to a doctor and saying, I'm feeling very depressed, and be started on antidepressants, but in fact they may be getting poor sleep. And so that's been studied, and it's been shown that. So I didn't bring that up earlier, but depression, anxiety, stress, lack of motivation, things like that, they're all very, very much related to poor sleep.
Okay, well, that's interesting. We're taking calls, and the phones are lit up again, so let's go back. Good evening, you're on the mark.
The Sheriff Rodney too big. Tell Mr. Holger Rodney knee. I think he will get a better healing. Guy and stronger.
Okay, Rodney, you're getting advice. The caller is saying let Mr. Hull come and rub your knee for you. So it's what we call a light moment on the show. So, caller, thank you very much for that advice. Okay? All right, we're taking the calls. The phones are lighting up. Let's stick with the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Yes, good night, Honorable Brantley.
Keep your voice up, we're not hearing you.
Okay. Good night, Honorable Brantley.
Good night, now we got you.
Okay. Good night, Dr. George.
Good night to you too.
Wonderful program. I'm going to read my scripture now. It's taken from Proverbs chapter 22, and I'm only reading 3 verses. A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold. The rich and poor meet together. The Lord is the maker of them all. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. May God rest add his richest blessings, the reading of his word. Good night and God bless. Lovely program.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Okay, then.
All right. We're sticking with the phones and taking some calls. Good evening, caller. You're on the mark.
Good night, Honorable, and good night to the doc.
Good night.
I would like to ask the doc this question: if too much of sleep, if it is bad for your body?
Is too much sleep bad for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I want to know, because right now, which I understand, a lot of people is getting a lot of stroke, and what causing this type of stroke these days? If it's less sleep and no sleep at all. Thank you.
So, Doc, that's a good question, because I think for the night we've been focused on you trying to get enough sleep. This caller is asking, if you get too much sleep, is that a problem?
It's a good question. So too much sleep is usually you trying to catch up on sleep because you're getting poor sleep. So if a person is sleeping all the time, 9 to 10 hours, and they're not taking any sedations or any medications and stuff like that, they probably need to get a sleep study because their body's trying to catch up. They're constantly tired. That's the best way to say it. So you're, this is why in the U.S. we actually have now truck drivers have to get a sleep study and get screened because they are falling asleep at the wheel because they have sleep apnea, right? And they're driving, a multi-ton machine and stuff. So too much sleep is usually a sign that you're too tired. And you're needing sleep and you're trying to catch up on sleep. So you really want to think of it that way.
Interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 25 minutes left. We're going to take as many calls as we can for Dr. George, our very special guest. And for those of you who are just tuning in, we've had a fascinating program thus far this evening where we are discussing healthcare broadly, but we're also looking at pulmonary issues. We do not have a resident pulmonologist here, and so Dr. George has come to share his expertise with us and to help us as we try to deliver better health care to the people of Nevis. So let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Mark, good evening.
Good evening.
Mark, when you have the pain...
If you move away from your phone, from the computer or the radio, we're getting an echo. Turn it off and talk to me on the phone. Hello?
Yes, Mark.
Okay, good. We're hearing you good now.
A pain. Bottom.
What you said?
A pain under your foot bottom. Whenever you're walking, you can't walk. Your foot bottom paining you terrible.
When you say foot bottom, you mean your sole of your foot?
Yes.
So when you say sole of your foot, when you say foot bottom?
Okay, Mark.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, your sole of your foot. It's paining you.
Yes.
And Mark, I do a lot of x-ray and thing, and it shows nothing. But I go in at the aspirin and just rub it with castor oil and all things, but the foot bottom and the bottom of my foot, the sole, the paining me badly.
So when you walk, you have the pain?
Yes.
If you're not walking, you're just sitting, the pain is still there?
No.
Okay. So it's when you put your weight on it?
Yeah, you get up on your walk.
Okay.
And this foot can start to out. You jump and you sit down, this foot relax.
Okay.
But the minute you start to walk, the foot ready for...
So have you seen your doctor about it?
Mark, I see too much doctor. I see a lot of doctor concerning this foot.
Okay, so Dr. George's caller is saying that she's having pain on the sole of her feet, and that whenever she gets up or tries to walk, the pain is quite acute. I have no idea what could be causing that, so
Yeah, so there are a lot of different things that could be causing foot pain, right? So it could be musculoskeletal, like it could be tendons. It could be weight, again, it could be the balance of your foot. So usually you're seeing like a foot doctor, orthopedics doctor, or podiatrist to look at it and make sure. And also sometimes it can be the nerves that, you know, you're compressing the nerves. So you really want to get a good evaluation by a specialist in that area, and possibly also imaging the foot to take a look and see if there's any fracture or anything like that.
You hear that?
Yes, I heard that.
Okay.
Thank you much.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, and I hope you get some relief. We have 22 minutes, 23 minutes left, and the phones continue to light up. Dr. George, you must come every week, because there are times when I'm here and I'm talking to myself for 2 hours, but I can't get a minute now. Everybody's calling. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Yes, Mr. Mark. Good evening.
Good evening to you.
Yes. Tell Randy, Rodney, get painkiller bush. Those who did the painkiller bush, I hope she's listening. The painkiller bush, it have a green thing on it. When it busts, it's like cotton coming out of it. And tell her, pick as much leaf she can and put them on her stove and heat them, but do not heat them, that when she done with them, they can hold on pan her foot, pan her knee. She have to just let it warm and put some plain Vaseline on it and get a bandage or something and bang up the tummy. And she will see how fast that pain come out of her tummy. This is the lady from Nevis, so we're calling over here. And this is a good thing because I had pain in my knee too. And I use those bush. And let me tell you, I don't have another pain again.
The pain gone?
That's right.
Okay. All right, where you say the bush name?
Use that painkiller bush.
Painkiller bush.
Yes, it have a green thing on it, like a ball. Like a fruit, it's like a fruit.
So, are you know,
it bust open, it's like a cotton.
oh, you know we have that bush in
Flying out
Nevis.
of it.
Maybe that's a station bush. Maybe that's a station bush.
No, they right up on Nevis.
They have it in Nevis? Okay.
That's right, they have it right there.
Okay.
She got a broad leaf. A broad leaf.
Okay.
With a white, with a green thing like a fruit. And when they open, it fly out like a cotton, the cotton trees. Remember the cotton trees have things that when them done come in, they fly all over the place?
Right.
Well, something like that coming out of it.
Okay. So you're saying
It's a broad green leaf. Yes, it's a broad green leaf.
Okay. All right.
Painkiller bush.
Okay, we got you. Thank you very much. Appreciate.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. So we have 20 minutes. So
one topic that's been brought up to me a couple of times by patients here is the Sahara Desert.
Sahara dust.
The dust,
yeah, that
yes.
comes off, yeah.
And just how it affects the pulmonary system and stuff. So that's an interesting topic because, you know, we don't see that much. We saw it come up into Florida a little bit, and you can see when the rain came, some of the brown material that's landing on the cars. But that does affect people's breathing, and it's harder to clear that out. And it causes a lot of people sinus issues and a lot of irritation in the eyes and stuff. And that's something, you know, you can use like a nebulizer machine to kind of clear that out, and also avoiding that exposure. The other thing also that was brought up a little bit was also sawgrassum.
Sorry about that.
And sawgrassum is the biome that's in the ocean that in some places it gets cleaned up, in some places it stays there longer. And that breakdown of that biome, it starts to cause a lot of vapor. So a lot of people breathing that also has caused issues. We've noticed here that there have been some complaints and stuff like that. So just a few things like that. It's different in different areas, like, you know, like geo issues, and then also the different types of how do you say? You have a different type of plant material here that causes allergies and stuff like that, but also open pit fires. So open pit fires, a lot of people have a lot of open pit fires. That fumes itself also tends to kind of get into the air a little bit and can cause a lot of asthma flares and stuff, especially in the heat and the humidity during this season.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And the phones keep going. So let's go back to the phones. Okay, we missed that caller. Yeah, we missed that caller. Caller, please call back in. 469-1616 and 1700. Now, Dr. George, in case you're wondering, we have a lot of what I would call traditional medicine here, where people use You hear the lady talk about the painkiller bush, the soursop bush, soursop leaves. You have all of that people say have certain properties and certain values. So that's something that exists sort of side by side with what I would call the modern medicine. You know, I think the language is traditional medicine, side by side with modern medicine. So let's go back to the phones and take some calls. Good evening. Okay. Let's try this other number then. Good evening, caller. You're on the mark.
Good evening, Mark.
Good evening to you.
Good evening to Dr. George.
Good evening.
Excellent program tonight. I just want to give Honorable Rodney Elliott a message. She knows exactly what she needs to take care of that problem, and it's not medication. I would like to share with the listening audience something that has worked for me for years, and that's Vicks VapoRub. I have 2 ankles that I suffered injuries in some years ago, and I rub my ankles and my feet every night. An old lady gave me this remedy some years ago, and I put on my socks before going to bed, and I wake up, I have no pain in my feet at all. So that works for me. Vicks VapoRub, try it, guys. Dr. George.
Yes.
I've been waiting to talk to somebody like you for a long time. I have a son who has sleep apnea. It started out when he was much younger, and back then it was suggested that, well, back then I had never heard of sleep apnea. That's not what it was called back then. But he had problems with breathing. And he ended up having surgery, and his adenoids were taken out. And it did get better. But as he's gotten older, it started again. He does late nights. He's a musician, overweight. Recently, he has been going to the gym and is doing a lot better. But it's very, very frightening to watch someone struggling through breathing, through sleep. And sometimes you wonder if they're going to wake up. What can one do to avoid that, especially when it's a young child, not realizing that this could happen later on in life? And him having his adenoids taken out, why did that not resolve some of what is happening to him now? Help me understand.
Sure. So it's a great question. So how old is he?
He's 31 years old now.
Okay, so young man. So so it's just that adenoids are taken out when they're. So remember, I told you when we started the talk, we said that sleep apnea is also a genetic issue. It's the shape of your face, right? So when you lay down as a child, your adenoids are the bigger things that kind of block that airway. So usually ENT surgeons will take that out, but that doesn't mean the sleep apnea is all gone away. So he should still get a sleep study. And again, it's going back to that question. And what you said, I think, is it hit home, is that it is very scary for somebody else to see somebody not breathing when they're sleeping, because that's called an apnea. And what happens is when they don't breathe, they don't move, and then all of a sudden they'll gasp, and you'll see them go and wake up, and that is a true apnea. And so that's very dangerous, because that is when they're not breathing, they're not getting any oxygen to the brain, to the heart. So you do want to get a sleep study, and then you can use a CPAP. CPAP works really well. It pushes that air open really well, and you can measure it, and you can see how well you do it. So the best treatment for them is probably still to do a sleep study and get a CPAP.
I think that was just done recently. He doesn't live with me, so I don't see the severity of it as much as when he was a young boy. But he just had a test done in the recent times. And I am truly hoping that that's something that gets cleared up.
Well, and as from a mom's standpoint of view, the most you can do is you want to encourage, right? Because sleep apnea is genetic, so it occurs in the family, right? So you want to make sure you encourage them that if they've had this study, to follow up with the physician and make sure that they'll correct it. Because a lot of people have got sleep studies but have never followed up. It's probably a good 30-40% of people that they've had a study, and they're like, well, I got it, it's okay, I don't want to follow up with it anymore. But remember, that problem has not been resolved. It's still there.
Yeah.
And so you want to encourage that to be addressed and fix it, and then follow up with the sleep study. And now that we have these home studies, they don't have to go and sleep in a center or anything like that. They can use those home studies to monitor it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I hope that helps.
Thank you so much for coming to Nevis.
Oh, thank you.
Offering the service. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mark.
All right, thank you very much for your call, and hopeful that your son gets some help and can resolve that issue. Ladies and gentlemen, we only have about 12 minutes left. We are here with Dr. George. If you've just tuned in, he's a pulmonologist who's visiting, sharing his expertise. This is his second visit, and this has been facilitated by Ursula Phillip, who is a daughter of Nevis but living in America, and she has used her connections to try to assist us with delivering better health care to the people of Nevis, principally for those disciplines that we do not have access to here on the island. And certainly we have no resident pulmonologist, so Dr. George has come to help us, and they thought it would be a great idea to be on the show tonight just to share with you and to teach and to educate, and that for us is very important. So let's go back to the phones and say good evening. You're on the mark.
Yes, Premier Brantley.
Yes, good evening.
Yes. Dr. George, this one got nothing to do with sleep. You got certain people, we usually call it shortness of breath.
Shortness of breath, yeah.
Yeah. By the time they take 5 years or so to this, so they have to sit down and watch them pant. Give me a little suggestion on a little quick remedy for that.
Okay, Doc. Yeah, go ahead. You finish?
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, so Doc, what the caller is saying is some people have shortness of breath, and just to take a short walk, they're panting and have to sit. And so he's asking, perhaps what causes that and what can people do who have that?
Yeah, so from our end, from a pulmonologist standpoint, if you had shortness of breath, if we saw you, we would do it's called a spirometry. We would do a breathing test to see how well your air flows. Because remember, shortness of breath can come from a lot of places. You can have a bad heart, and you can have shortness of breath. You can have a bad lung and have shortness of breath. You can be deconditioned and just not exercise. We'll develop shortness of breath. And you can also have neurologic symptoms. So you want to really speak, let's say you came to a pulmonologist and you said you had shortness of breath. So we can kind of go through those steps and evaluate you and make sure that we put you in the right direction to make sure that's treated. So some people it's cardiac, so it's a 50-50 which way to go, but you definitely want to be seen by somebody because it is a symptom that needs to be corrected.
So you're saying that if you have heart disease, that can cause shortness of breath?
Yep, like so a heart failure patient,
okay,
they get shortness of breath. A person who has bad asthma that's not controlled has shortness of breath. A smoker who smokes a lot, they'll have shortness of breath. A person who just doesn't exercise, if you don't use it, you lose it, you'll get shortness of breath. And so you don't want to push yourself where you'll say, I'm just going to push, and panting, because you could pass out. So you want to really get that evaluated, especially if you're saying, I have shortness of breath and I can't walk, and I have to stop. That's the best way.
So, and the shortness of breath is really symptomatic of your body not getting enough oxygen, I assume?
Yes, but the reason for it could be a lot of different factors.
Things.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, caller. You're on the mark.
Good evening. Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Is there anyone could come and see the doctor at the hospital?
Yes, so the question is, can anyone pop in and see you at the hospital? You're there from 1 o'clock tomorrow, you say?
Yes, you're more than welcome to come. At the Alexander Hospital.
And what is the fee?
What is the fee?
Yes.
It's free, from my standpoint. Just please come, we'll
the
see
fee
you.
is FREE.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's a good fee?
Yes, thank you.
Okay,
very much.
you can't get no lower than that.
Thank you.
All right. Dr. George, a question came in. I've been checking my phone, and some people are asking questions there. But one of the questions someone asks is, how long will you be on island, and what's the period of time that you'll be available to see people?
Sure. So my coordinator is Miss Ursula Phillip. And what we have done, what we have tried to do is you know, and it's not to be a one and done. We wanted to create a sustainability picture, because it's what Premier Brantley was saying, is like, how do you give access to people? Well, the first thing is to show presence, right? We have a busy practice in Atlanta, but we're coordinating it so that we can make a systematic approach to come here at least 3 times a year easily. And we're working with the hospital so that we see patients there, and hopefully have a telehealth system in place so that we can actually use telehealth to see the patients and follow up.
And on this trip, how much time are you here for on this trip?
So we're going back Sunday, but we're going to see patients Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Okay. All right. So you're leaving on Sunday. You're not going to get the Mango Festival, the last
I'm going to
bit.
catch a tail end, or the beginning of it.
The beginning of the Mango Festival. Okay, good. Well, you were born in Africa. You're from an Indian household, so you're clearly very familiar with mango.
Yes, very much.
Okay.
My mom used to make mango pickles. So.
Okay, mango pickle. That's interesting. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we only have about 8 minutes left on this show. Again, for those who have missed it or missed portions of it, it has been an excellent show. Lots of education. I learned quite a bit tonight of the importance of getting a good night's sleep, getting proper sleep, and that not getting proper sleep can lead to a lot of problems. And the lesson, I think, that I'm certainly taking away is that snoring is not a sign that you're getting good sleep. Snoring is in fact suggesting that you have a problem. Let's go back to the phones, Doc, and take this call. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Yes. Dr. George usually run up to the States, and he got certain time when they call pollen. You familiar with the term there? When
pollen, yes.
Pollen.
Yeah, pollen.
Right. And then you see a lot of people start sneeze and do all kind of stuff, and then now Benadryl. Benadryl are one of the biggest medication there. And me hear you say that Benadryl now can cause dementia and so forth. So what will be your advice now to them people for that when this problem comes, them addicted to this Benadryl, you got one remedy now that then can come off? That's one question. And then number 2 is like, if the bank right, for take away your car and your house and so on, you have to stress yourself. Which one you prefer? Which one you give one advice to do? Don't worry, be happy. Okay then.
You get
that, Mark?
Listen, what kind of question you asking the doctor? The bank writes you to take your house and car. What do I have to do with the doc?
No. Stress.
Well, the best thing to do is pay the bank so you don't have to.
But you not got. That's why them take on guy. You not got the money.
That's why you not got the money.
So let's talk about the pollen.
So he's saying that pollen, I guess people who maybe have an allergy would take Benadryl.
Yeah.
And you said that Benadryl may not be good for you.
Yeah,
So
Benadryl is definitely not good for long term. If you have an allergic reaction and you need to take Benadryl for a few days, it's fine. But you should use something else like Zyrtec or Allegra during the pollen season. The other easy thing to do is the good old-fashioned neti pot. The sinus rinses, they have the saline rinse to actually rinse the pollen out. So you can use antihistamines, but Benadryl for sure, do not use it. The problem is that Benadryl is generic, so it's sold under so many different kind of names, but it's been shown to cause long-term dementia, so definitely don't want to use it.
let's take this call. We have 5 minutes left. Good evening, caller. Please be patient. You can call back in. We're trying certainly to get maybe 1, maybe 2 calls left in the 5 minutes that we have left with Dr. George. So if you want to call, 469-1616, 469-1700. Those are the 2 numbers here at Vaughan Radio. This show, Dr. George, is rebroadcast on this station tomorrow at 1 p.m. So some people who may not have got it or got it all, they can get it again tomorrow. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening. Just a quick thing. The lady who called in about the pain with the sole of the feet, I could just give her a little advice. She could try lime. I just a quick thing. I used to have the itch on the sole of my feet. It would itch me, and then I would scratch it, and on scratching it, it would hurt. I would get a bump, and the bump would hurt so much so that I would have to keep hopping. And I keep thinking, what can I do to this foot? What is really happening? And then I remember my mom used to rub her feet with lime. I never asked her why. I never knew the reason why. But it ran in my mind, and I tried it. One night when I was going to bed, I bathed, and I put a towel to the bottom of the bed. I cut the lime, and I rubbed my feet with the lime. And, you know, I never had that pain again. To be honest, I never really went to the doctor or anything, but I tried the lime just because I remember my mom used to do it.
Okay.
And I never had the pain on the sole of my foot. So she could probably try that and see if it works.
See if it works. All right. Good. Thank you very much. Dr. George, you went to medical school.
Yep.
But you realize how many doctors we have here. Because we, as I said, we have traditional medicine, so to speak. And as this caller said, her mother used to do something. She's not quite sure, but she did it. It worked. So you have a lot of people here who take that view. Let's take this final call. Good evening. You're on the mark.
I agree with the lady. Lime acid create pain.
Lime do what?
Thank Dr. Acid create pain.
Okay.
I agree with her with the lime. I want to thank Dr. George to come tonight and speak to us about our illness. And I thank him very much.
Oh,
and
you're
have
welcome.
a good evening. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Dr. George, it looks like you've been a hit, because I don't know that we've ever had this many calls on the show. And I am grateful. I want to thank those who are listening, because everybody behaved themselves tonight, you know. Nobody called in with any politics, and so they respected our wishes. This show is probably the first show in 20 years that people actually listened to me and did what I asked. So I'm very grateful for all of those out there who had their questions of a political nature. We'll get to you next week, and we could get back to regular programming. But tonight we had a very special show with a very special gentleman, Dr. George, who's here visiting from the United States. He's a pulmonologist, and he was sharing his expertise, his knowledge with us, and helping to educate us. I want to thank Ursula Phillip, who is the facilitator, who has made all this possible, following in the footsteps of her mom, who started this journey. And we're very, very happy, Dr. George, to have had you. I'll give you the last word in terms of, you know, your availability and your experience thus far on the island. We have 2 minutes.
Well, thank you very much, Nevis, for allowing us to come here, and we plan to come back. We'll be here Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the Alexander Hospital. So please
Starting at what time? 1 p.m. each day?
1 p.m.
1 p.m. on Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday, evening from 9 to 2.
1 p.m. Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday from 9 to 2.
Okay.
And then we plan to come back, so definitely I won't be going away. And thank you, Premier Brantley, for also having us on the show. It's a great show.
And then people can just walk in, you say? They
Yes,
don't, okay.
and it's free.
It's free, and people can walk in. Okay? So that's great. I believe I need to get tested because I'm snoring, and that's a problem. And so I'm waking up tired. That's a problem. I'm sure I'm not alone. So if you're out there and you're snoring, you're not getting a good night's sleep, it means that you have a problem. So that's great advice that we've had tonight. Great education for all of us. Dr. George, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Ursula, thank you. We're very, very grateful to you. The government cannot do it alone. We don't have the resources. So individuals like yourself, lending your time, lending your expertise, we can't pay for that. We're truly grateful. So whenever we hear that sound, it means the band has struck up that we have to go.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's the end of it. And this particular technician I work with doesn't allow me 1 second after 10 o'clock. So she's fed up. She got to go. She said, you know, let's go. So I want to thank all who called, all who listened. This was a very important show. If you get an opportunity, please listen to it again tomorrow. And let's try to take some of the lessons on board. Getting a good night's rest is very important to your long-term health. Thank you. And let us continue to do the best we can to deliver better health care to the people of Nevis.
Have a good night.
Views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertisers.